everyone, my name is Nina and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing a combination bookshop with me / book haul. Basically, this came about because we went to see our friends in North Carolina in the beginning of June and ended up going to 4 different bookstores over the course of like 5 days, which honestly before this trip was kind of my plan because I really did want to see what the local bookstores in that area were like. But also, it wasn't really my plan that I would buy many books because I definitely don't need to add any more books to my collection right now. But I did end up picking out a couple from the stores we went to. So I think starting off, I will show you some clips and talk about each of the bookstores we went to in turn. So the first bookstore we went to was Epilogue Books and Chocolate Brews. This is a combination bookstore / cafe hybrid that has both new and used books in it. I didn't get anything here, but my wife did end up picking up 2 books. Another bookstore that we went to in kind of a similar area was Flyleaf Books. This bookstore was really good. It is another bookstore that sells both new and used books, and it was very well laid out and organized. I just thought that the table displays that they had were really well done, and they also had a very good used book selection. I think this was probably one of my favorite bookstores we went to over the trip, and if this was my local bookstore, I definitely would be going here a lot. I ended up picking out 3 books from here. Originally I just picked out 2, but then on the way out I noticed another book that was actually on my list to get, so I ended up adding that to my collection as well. The next bookstore that we went to was McKay's Mebane. This is basically like a regional exclusive version of Half Price Books, at least in terms of like the stuff that they sell. But there's also a ton of used things like movies and music, but also puzzles, games, some tech stuff, toys, and memorabilia. There was also this like giant wall of Funkos, which I immediately texted Dylan about because he's a huge Funko collector, and if you are too, this might be the place to go. I ended up getting 1 book from here, and then between me and my wife, we also found a ton of good cheap DVDs and Blu-rays. I also feel like the fiction books were pretty well organized, and the romance section specifically had like separate places for fantasy romance, historical romance, erotica, and it was a lot more thought out than I have seen in some other bookstores. But I just didn't really find a lot that I had been looking for in terms of actual books to get. And the final bookstore that we went to was Wentworth and Leggett Books. This has a lot more rare books, like first editions, plus a lot of like vintage magazines and postcards, advertisements, stuff like that. Obviously, since the majority of the books they sell are older, these are also all used books, and I ended up getting 1 book from here. Also, in addition to those bookstores, we did go to a couple other stores that are kind of tangentially book related. One is a vintage store that we ended up getting a postcard from. And I also went to a stationery shop that I had originally found on Instagram called Mill and Meadow. They have really cute stationery, and I have been wanting to get some new stationery for use around our house. So I figured I would go ahead and show you the stuff I got from those 2 places first. So for the first place, Dolly's Vintage, again, it's mostly clothes, but they also do have kind of like other knickknacks. And one of them was this like greeting card that we found. And it is X-Files themed that says, "You are the Scully to my Mulder." It's just so incredibly cute. And Suzanne, if you are watching this, this is definitely going to be a Christmas or a birthday gift for you. But it was so cute. It was like the first thing we saw when we walked in and we knew we had to get it. Now I will show you the selection of things I got from Mill and Meadow. My wife also got something from there, but for me, I ended up picking out 2 different washi tapes. The first one is this butterfly print washi tape. Hopefully my camera is focusing on it, but it's really cute. And I have a lot of like butterfly stickers, so I thought this would go really well. And the other one I got was this very like neutral washi tape that has different illustrations of like stationery stuff on the side, which I thought also would go really well with a lot of my spreads. And then in addition to that, I got 2 different packs of Post-it notes. These are kind of like a bit of a wider post-it note, but this one is just like pink on the top and then it has this floral design on the bottom. And I'm pretty sure all the things that I got are things that are designed in-house, like part of the Mill and Meadow brand, as opposed to being like something external from a different artist. So this first post-it note has this like floral design on the bottom. And then the other one I got is so incredibly cute. It has this little like pink bow design. These are both things I really wanted because I thought that they would go well when I start annotating my books to use when I like stick in post-it notes with my thoughts. Since I don't really like writing on my books directly anymore, and I just thought having more cute like decorative post-it notes would be a nice touch for that. And the last thing I got from that store was this magnetic like notepad that is designed to be a grocery list. We have one right now that we keep on our fridge that I just randomly got from TJ Maxx, like back in the fall time, so it has like a pumpkin design on it. So I thought that having this one would be a good alternative, especially because that one is starting to run out. So this one will be the next one we used after we finish that one. So that is my stationery portion of the haul. Now let's go through all of the books I got while I was on our trip. The first one I got from the McKays and Mebane, and that is a mass market copy of The Vampire Lestat. As you can see from the sticker, this cost me $2.75, and I decided I wanted to get a copy of this for myself. Ideally, I would have been able to find one of the like first edition hardbacks, but I know that they are kind of hard to come by on like the secondhand stores that I've been to. Usually they have a lot of the later books in the Vampire Chronicles, but not usually like the first 3. But I really wanted a copy of this specifically because I actually want to go back and read it again very soon to do like full annotations in, since initially I just had read it as an audiobook. And I do really like this book. It was one of my 5 stars from 2023. And I used to have a copy very, very long time ago. Honestly, it might have been a very similar design to this one. And I'm just happy to have another copy of this in my collection. Okay, now let's talk about the 3 books I ended up getting from Flyleaf Books. The first one that I got is The Orange and Other Poems by Wendy Cope. This is a new collection of poems from Wendy Cope that I think are a lot of her previous works just rebound into this smaller format, with the like most famous of her poems, The Orange, being the title and like the first poem in the collection. The poem The Orange is like probably one of the most popular poems I see on social media. I know a lot of other booktubers and YouTubers say it is their favorite poem because it has just like really pure universal appeal. And I feel like since I like that so much, I wanted to take a chance and read some of Wendy Cope's other poetry. And I decided to pick up this one since it is like titled after The Orange, instead of getting Serious Concerns, which is her collection that is what The Orange is originally from. This edition is so cute and tiny, and I really, really love that when you open it up, the entire book is like the same bright orange color. So yes, excited to check this out. I've been trying to get a little bit more into poetry, since it's definitely one of the genres or like mediums I read the least, and I thought that this would be a good place to start. The next book I picked up from Flyleaf is Trial of the Sun Queen by Nisha J. Tooley. This book was a little bit of an impulse buy, / it is a book I have had on my radar, but I wasn't sure like if I was ever going to buy a copy and not sure when I'm actually going to read it. But it was actually in their used book section, so it was only $8. So I figured that would be like the perfect occasion to pick it up. This, from what I understand, is one of the more popular romanticises that has come out in the last couple years. And it's kind of like a hybrid of The Bachelor with Hunger Games. And I think it's about a group of women that are trying to compete for the Sun King's like hand in marriage. But as part of this, I think they might have to fight one another, or possibly like when one of them gets like selected as no longer an option for marriage, they get killed off. Personally, there is a lot of romantasy books that have come out recently, and a lot of them just don't really interest me. But this one had a unique enough premise that is a combination of things I could easily understand from the summary that definitely piqued my interest, and I'm interested in seeing what this book is actually like. Okay, the last book I ended up picking up from Flyleaf Books is one that I have been very, very excited to finally get. Originally, I was thinking I would just get it from the library, but then when I saw it, because it had just recently come out, I was like, no, I definitely need to own this one. And that is The Blue Stockings Guide to Decadence by Jess Everly. This is the 3rd book in the Lucky Lovers of London series, which, if you've watched any other videos on my channel, is a series I recently read the other previous 2 books in the series of in other reading vlogs, and absolutely loved them. So I knew this one was going to be coming out in early June of 2024. And when I saw that it had released and was at the bookstore that I was at, I was like, you know what? I do actually want to own this one. I really, really love the other 2 books in this series. I'm super excited to see what this one is like. These are a series of queer historical romances set in Victorian London. And this one in particular is a lesbian historical romance. that follows a lesbian character that we've met in previous books, as well as the main character from the second book in the series, Noah's, his younger sister, Emily. And I am just super, super excited to check this one out. I really, really love Jess Everly's writing style, and the other two books in the series have been like gay male romances, so I'm excited to see what she does with a sapphic couple as the main couple of the book instead. Okay, now let's talk about the last book I got, which was from Wentworth and Leggett. This is a pretty giant poetry collection from Walt Whitman that I think is considered now like one of the like pillars of modern poetry. I got this book for honestly quite a dark academia reason, and that is because I recently saw the movie Dead Poets Society for the first time and really, really loved it. And it honestly did make me get a lot more inspired to be interacting with classic literature and poetry. And one of the poets that the main character, who's played by Robin Williams, Mr. Keating, quotes a lot is different poems from Walt Whitman. And just like the enthusiasm for poetry that you get from the characters in that movie, it made me get really enthusiastic about poetry as well. This is probably a book that I'll read like a section or two of over the course of a long period of time, instead of reading the entire thing front to back over the course of like a week. But I'm super excited to have this. Between like this Walt Whitman collection and Walden by Thoreau, those are like two of the main works that are cited a lot in the Dead Poets Society. So I'm excited to check out both of them in the near future. So that is a look at the books I ended up picking up during my last vacation. I'm super excited for all of these, and I feel like I got a really good variety of a bunch of different genres. I'm very much a mood reader, and I have a lot of different interests, and I feel like these all fit a different like niche that are things that I really wanted in my collection. So I'm super excited to dive into a lot of these in the near future. So that is going to be it for this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, consider liking, commenting, or subscribing if you aren't already. Consider following me on the Storygraph if you'd like to see my reading updates in real time, as well as following my Bookstagram, which is linked in the description. And that is going to be it for me today. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!